It's really interesting, this concept of women in the pool industry. It is very much traditionally a man's business and a man's world, and men are supposed to service pools and women aren't, and all of that stuff that's just become normal rhetoric. I sit in a really unique position in that my business partner, Sandy Mackey, asked the pool girl. And recently I was asked a question, and I was asked whether it would be more appropriate for me to answer that question or for her to answer that question. And what I recognize, and I don't know if everyone does, because she probably doesn't get the credit that she deserves because she's a woman in the industry, she's probably way more qualified to answer questions than I am on most things. I'm really good technically in building. I'm really good at the how I do what I do things. And she fills in the gaps everywhere else. And I think that there's probably a lot of women, and I would love to see more women growing in our industry and taking leadership roles and getting the credit they deserve and not having to fight for it because they're women, but get it because they deserve it. And Sandy is one of those. She's incredibly knowledgeable and, quite frankly, probably, like I said, probably way more qualified to answer most questions than I am pool related in the pool industry. And I think that because it's been so men-centric and so men-dominated, that it's just inherent in us that we must be better at it. And I think we're way wrong on that one. Knowing, even in our crew, we have 4 girls that work construction in our crew. And quite frankly, they put most of the boys in the industry to shame. And I say boys and men, because our girls range from 50 years old to, 16 years old. Actually, so there's 4 in the field, and then there's several in the office that come out to the job. But the predominantly ones in the field are from 50 years old to 19 years old. And they put most of the men to shame in terms of work and their ability to do it. And I think that's a big fundamental shift too. And it's easy for me because I have social proof with how viable they are in the marketplace, they meaning women. I would hope that the industry would understand. And when you're looking to hire, don't not look at girls in the field, women in the field, just because you think they're not qualified. Give them the chance. You'll be incredibly surprised. And I think also, and this is just me, just having witnessed it for so long now, is women bring a feminine energy. There's something different, and it's etherically different than men. And there's something in that brings the project to a different place. There's a different finish point and a finer touch to it somehow. And that's not a masculine, it's a masculine feminine thing, but I don't mean it to be disrespectful in any ways. It's actually, they bring a softer touch. The product, for me, I know our product is better because it's touched by women's hands. They do a far better job at detailing out things and owning it. And maybe it has to do with they have something to prove because the world doesn't think that they're qualified for it. I don't think that's what it is. I think that's who they are. Just by doing what they're doing on our projects makes them better. And I suppose if I didn't have that insight already and they were just hired by another company that's never had a girl in the field, maybe they would have to feel like they have to prove themselves. I don't think they have to prove themselves here anymore because they've proven it over and over and over. Now it's they can just put the love into it that they normally do, and the product is phenomenal. So don't ever devalue women in our industry. I think that women are a huge future of our industry. Seeing what I'm seeing from a labor pool standpoint, women are taking over all of the great labor jobs as well because they're capable. And I don't know what's happened with boys today and young teens and 20s today, but either mamas have been spoiling them or something, but they just don't want to work the same. But I got to tell you, the daughters in the family are willing to bust their butts to do whatever it takes to make it happen. So don't ever disregard women in the industry. I think they're here to stay in a much larger way than we could ever imagine.